And welcome back to Plain Talk. It is a dark day in the American Republic. Normally, well, I say normally, just because the last three out of the past four episodes of this show have been what I consider to be fun explorations of the craziest philosophies that we humble Western scholars can come up with, because that's fun and therapeutic. But this show also exists as an outlet to talk about things that are not always fun and sometimes are very unpleasant, actually. The second episode of our main podcast was about the election, and the third one was in the aftermath of the election. We here at the White Pages have never shied away from this sort of stuff. I am not happy to be talking about this. I'm not here to generate clicks. I'm not here to generate likes. I'm not here to spark righteous outrage or debate. Debate's fine, I guess, but no, actually, in this case, no, there is no debating, because what happened today was not up for debate. And the simple fact of the matter is that any creator, any artist, whatever artist mediums they are, we're all a bit selfish and we're all a bit self-absorbed. You kind of have to be, because we are presenting ourselves and our work and our ideas and our thoughts and our feelings out for other people to consume, and that's our product. And so I am being very upfront about the fact that I am doing this tonight for me, because I have never I have never wished that I had been wrong more. For people who know me in the real world, I've been saying for more than a few months that armed insurrection was not only possible, it was even plausible. And then it happened today, on the steps of the U.S. Capitol building, inside the U.S. Capitol building. And I'm really disturbed, and I think you should be too. And if you're not, I don't know what to say to you, because this was rebellion. We in this country have experienced armed conflict before. It sort of defines us in some ways. We have been fighting each other for the past 6-7 years, on and off, left and right, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, etc., etc., etc. It's not a new thing, but this is a new level. And we need to remember this. We need to, as painful and unpleasant as it is, we need to talk about this. We need to decide now, as a country, that this is wrong, that the violence needs to stop. Because if you push this particular lever, if you push that button, if you go in this direction, you don't come back. There's no coming back from revolution. And, you know, I think my political alliances should be fairly obvious by now, and if they're not, you know, I'm very comfortably on the liberal left. And to the people who are with me, I just would like to say, like, we need to be aware, because obviously something's not getting through to the other side if they've decided that the only recourse is armed insurrection. Like, this was a rebellion. There is no other word for it. This was rebellion. And the last time we had rebellion in this country, it tore us apart, literally. And we've never really recovered from that, not really. So I'm going to get off my soapbox. I have a different co-host with me tonight. My lovely friend Sydney, if you want to say hi, I'm going to step off my soapbox.
Hi, friend.
For those of you who have been following us a little bit, you know that she's going to be joining us for the new By Dark roleplay series that's coming out Saturday. I had this plan in my head that I wanted to get you and Titus on the podcast or on something, because we had Will on Sunday, and I wanted you guys to come on, you know, before we did the Saturday show, so that we could all, like, you know, everyone could get introduced to the audience. But you know, this was not my intention necessarily.
Yeah, it's okay.
And originally, when I'd asked you to be on tonight, because Matt, my usual partner in crime, he's not feeling very well tonight. I thought we could talk about the victories in Georgia this morning. You know, and I was remarking to my better half that maybe we could even, you know, talk about some queer shit tonight, because we've got that in common. But you know,
But then America happened.
yeah, then something really bad happened, and here we are. So,
Hi.
oops.
It's okay. I would rather not gloss over what's going on
Yeah.
for the sake of a platform, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then that's just irresponsible.
It is irresponsible.
Yeah.
You know.
If you have a platform, like, you should talk about what's going on in your environment and how it's affecting you, because some people don't have that opportunity.
You know, to a certain extent, I understand why, you know, certain people with platforms might not want to comment. You know, I do appreciate those artists who don't stick their noses where they don't belong, because sometimes it can come across as really preachy. But, you know, this is everybody.
Yeah.
This is everybody. There's no shying away from this. There are no exceptions to this.
Just at this point, I can't even say it's sad. It's just exhausting at this point. And it's embarrassing.
It is.
It's a travesty.
It is.
If I'm going to be, you know, using big kid words.
It is terrifying for international relations to
Yeah.
have the country with the largest army in the world, which is the largest partner in NATO. And, whether we like it or not, and to be clear, I am very opposed to our interventionism in the West.
Yeah.
We are still the big kid on the block who, by and large, is the military for the world. And we just burned our own Capitol building.
Yeah.
There's so much wrong with that beyond the obvious of holy fuck, the election's over, you lost, move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I get it. I wasn't thrilled when Trump won in 2016. I wasn't super thrilled with the marches against him that happened day of. Like, I get it. But
There's a difference between marching and then breaking into
you didn't
the
see
Capitol
us
building.
burning anything. You didn't see us storming into our government office and attempting to hold our elected officials hostage.
Yeah.
It's, and I don't want to point fingers because that's not helpful, but I have to ask Republicans and conservatives, is this what you want? It
Yeah.
can't be, because if it is, then we really do believe in two separate things. We really do live in two Americas, and I don't want to live in your America.
Yeah. But I want to point out that it's important to remember that some Republicans are absolutely not for this type of behavior and haven't
Yes.
been for him in a while. You know,
Most notably today, and as dark as it has been so far, I do want to
hmm
call attention to Mitt Romney of all people.
Oh, Mitt Romney.
Now,
Oh,
I am ideologically opposed to Mitt Romney in
yeah.
almost every way. Like, we want different things culturally.
Yeah.
We want some different things economically. We're different people. But I have a lot of respect for Mitt Romney because I think we both genuinely believe in a better tomorrow and agree on some very basic principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
We've already got somebody in the chat. I need to hear that, and thank you for saying that. Like, it's terrifying. I spent today terrified,
Yeah.
that it got to this point. Like, this can't. To the derision of not many of my friends, but a select one or two. Like, I've gotten into disagreements over our militant wings. Like, I'm thoroughly opposed to that.
hmm
I oppose violence and militarism in all their forms. Like, that's not how you have a civil democracy. You can't operate a country by literally fighting over it. That's not how we live together. And I like it's it is heartbreaking, and I'm so glad for the people who, again, like, might be ideologically opposed to me but are ethically on the same page.
Yeah.
I am ideologically opposed to Mitt Romney, but I am ethically on his same side.
hmm
And I just, I wanted to highlight this because it was it was poignant, and it's one of those things that you read about in a history book.
Yeah.
Like one of those great statements that sometimes you see. So
That'll definitely be like a direct quote later on in some kid's
yeah,
history paper.
as the Capitol was being, breached, as they were storming down to the Senate chamber, reportedly Mitt Romney raised his finger to Ted Cruz, pointed at him, and shouted, and I quote verbatim, "This is what you've gotten."
Yeah.
And of course he came out publicly and absolutely condemned all of this, and has been a leading voice so far in just fighting back against this. Mitch McConnell, who I do kind of think is the spawn of Satan, even he today, before the violence started, was saying, hey, maybe we have gone a little too far, gang. you
He
know
said if they continued on with the whole charade of rejecting the election votes, it would be a death spiral for democracy.
and he's right. And
He
he's
is right.
right. And I don't agree ethically with Mitt Romney. Not Mitt Romney, Mitch McConnell. I don't agree ethically with Mitch McConnell. I do think he's not a good person. But he's at least got enough of a shred of human decency to say, hey, this is a step too far. We've gone too far. And I just hope and pray, for what little prayer counts for me, that we can just stop, that we can reach these people who have been driven to such extremes, and make peace with them, because we have to make peace. We can't let this continue. This is madness. This is the death of the republic. I keep catching myself saying that lately. This shouldn't be something out of a history book. This should be something that we just wipe our hands of and move on. A democratic election took place. We should move on. It's how democracy is supposed to work. And yet there are people who not only believe that it was so thoroughly undemocratic that it was untenable, but that they need to actively fight back with armed resistance. That is a failure to communicate. That is a failure to understand. That is a failure to listen. And I don't have the answers. I've joked on this program a lot about, solving the great problems of our day in an afternoon, but
I think this is a little too complex to figure out in a day or an afternoon,
it's a little too complex, yeah.
because it goes beyond like us, if that makes sense.
Well, it's
It's
the entire
it
country.
exactly. It's just like so I don't even know how to describe it. It feels like it's been, when you're like boiling water and you put a cover on it to make sure it doesn't splash,
Mm-hmm.
but then you leave it on too long and then you walk back in the kitchen and the hand, like the
The pot's boiled over.
cover's fallen off. Yeah. That's what it feels like. It's been like that for a while. To me anyway. And today was just me just watching the pot be already overturned. Like watching it in slow motion. And I'm just waiting for it to hit the stovetop. Which is a very cynical thing to say, but who knows what's gonna happen in the next week, tomorrow, next couple of hours. It's weird to live through a second historical moment in not even a year.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
Like, I saw a tweet today, and it was someone being like, wow, kids who grew up, like, when 9/11 happened really should go to therapy after today.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel called out. I don't appreciate it, but I get it. It's just like, and that's not even like, I'm talking like specifically about like my generation in particular, but it's a traumatizing event for anyone like in this country, because you're watching either, like I saw a lot of people today comparing how the DC police reacted to the rioters today, and I'm going to call them rioters, I'm not going to call them protesters because that's not what they were.
Rebels. Let's call them what they are. They're
Let's call them
rebels.
rebels. They compared how the DC police reacted to rebels versus how they reacted to Black Lives Matter protesters. And like it was so disheartening to see Black people on my timeline go, "Oh, so you'll kill us for nothing, but you'll let them walk onto the Senate floor and take pictures." I get it.
Yeah.
And if anyone doesn't know me, I am not um, a Black person. I am not a person of color. And so I cannot obviously have a firsthand experience or firsthand reaction to that. But I couldn't even imagine that kind of trauma for them today. And I can't even, like, and for me as a queer person, that terrifies the fuck out of me to see, like, how far Proud Boys and Rebels will go to have things work out. And, like, what would happen if they took it too far with anybody else. That's terrifying to me. It's just, I don't want to see my country that I am still somehow patriotic to and still appreciate crumble at my feet before I even turn 25 on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, I shouldn't have to witness, like you, and it's correct what you're saying, like the death of the Republic. I shouldn't be like watching the decimation of a democracy I've been grown like raised on and grown proud of be shaken and then decimated at my feet. You know? Like that's scary to
It's
me.
the kind of thing that you expect to see on the news for some country a world away.
Yeah.
It happened last year, actually. I was just reading about that on our the New Year's episode we did on New Year's. I think it was Myanmar collapsed last year, and it just that
Yeah.
sort of just went under the radar because everything else that was happening, but might not have been Myanmar. I might have misspoken on that. I think it was Myanmar, but yeah, it's it's not unprecedented, and
Hmm.
I think the news media needs to stop using that word, because I see it a lot.
Hmm.
This is not unprecedented. This is well established precedent in many, 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 many countries over many, many, many hundreds and thousands of years, to the dawn of human civilization. We know what armed insurrection looks like. We know
Yeah.
what armed insurrection looks like in this country. This is not the first time it's happened here.
Yeah.
Technically, like, it's the third. You
Hmm.
know, you know. I heard somebody compare it to the War of 1812.
Yeah, I did too. It was, I think it was someone talking about the closest that either the Confederate flag had gotten to the Capitol or the last time that the building got um oh, what's the word I want? Like broken into was in 1812. I don't remember. I think it was the broken into. That was the last time it had happened
Yeah, it was
in
1812.
history.
That's when they
Yeah.
that's when they burned the White House.
Yeah. And they said that's when the last time it happened was 1812. The Confederate flag thing bothers me so much that someone would like even have the audacity to bring that into the Capitol building. That has been the closest that fabric has ever gotten to the Capitol building, including Civil War. And it baffles my mind that people don't seem to get. I don't understand your ideology. I don't understand your conviction to be so visceral in your reaction to this. But I need you to understand that the Confederacy was an enemy to the United States as you know it. I need you to understand that. So you're not bringing in a oh, this used like it's not like the Betsy Ross flag. I'm bringing in an old version of the flag. No, you're not. You're literally bringing in an enemy's flag into one of the like hearts of U.S. democracy, is what you're doing when you say that you're fighting for U.S. democracy. It
That
it's the contradictive essence that just drives me nuts.
that flag also
Mm.
is not the Confederate flag.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that is often called the Stars and Bars by, or just the Confederate flag by people who like to fly it. But that's not what that flag is.
Hmm.
The Stars and Bars,
Mm-hmm.
and for flag history, I will find it. The Stars and Bars looks much more like our actual modern U.S. flag. It was modeled to look like the U.S. flag. Because the Confederate States of America considered itself a legitimate U.S. state.
Mm-hmm.
It's loading a little slowly for me, but my internet's a little slow.
That's it.
The flag that we know of as the Confederate flag was only a featured aspect of the Confederate flag during its redesign in the last year of the Confederacy. The
Gotcha.
reason why is because that flag is the flag of General Robert E. Lee. That was his Virginia cavalry flag. Cavalry flag.
It's okay. Words are hard.
Words are hard.
Words are hard.
But that flag in specifically was never an official flag of the Confederate state. It was only associated with Virginia. But because the Virginian troops and Lee specifically were where most of the success of the Confederacy came from, that flag became. Here, I think it just popped up on my screen. I'm gonna expand it
I see
now.
it.
Yeah, but this flag, this is the Confederate flag.
Hmm.
But you don't ever see. Well, actually, this flag is still part of a number of state flags, so it's still technically around. But this flag, if it was really about heritage, if it was really about some kind of lost culture, this would be the flag they were flying. But they don't fly this flag.
Mm-hmm.
They fly General Lee's flag, and they fly General Lee's flag because they're remembering battle. They are remembering the fight. They are remembering the rebellion. That's not the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is not remotely the same thing. It is a deliberate effort. It is a deliberate choice. And I have the other one up here now. Like this flag over the other one is a choice.
Yeah.
To declare the act of rebellion still ongoing. That the fight is still ongoing, not to honor the fallen dead, not to honor your ancestors, not to honor your culture, but to say that the fight's not over, and that we're gonna keep fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's rebellion. And that's not rebellion the fun kind of punk rebel kind. That's rebellion, capital R, treason.
Mm-hmm.
And there is nothing more I can say than that. It is treason. It is rebellion. It is unacceptable. It doesn't matter what it, even if it truly just means your heritage. What is your heritage?
Yeah.
What are you trying to honor here? I can understand from a certain perspective honoring the dead. I can understand from a certain perspective, only that, frankly.
Yeah.
That's really it. I can understand honoring your, specifically your fallen dead family, but that's not what the flag means, and that's really not why you're doing it. You don't see Germans flying the Nazi flag to honor the fallen German dead in World War II. You don't see the citizens of the Russia and Ukraine and the other former Soviet states flying the Soviet flag to honor the fallen dead of the USSR. You don't see these things
Yeah.
because these flags, these symbols, they mean things. Symbols aren't just random things we put up for decorative display. They mean something. The flag that I have portrayed for this episode means something. The upside down American flag means that our country is in distress. That is its
Yeah.
purpose, and that is why I'm flying it tonight, because we are in distress. And I have tried so hard to to fight for peace and to argue for conversation. And I am begging, I am imploring anyone who's listening. We need to stop the madness. That we can't let ourselves go down this path. It will destroy the republic. And revolution's just not the option. Violence is not the option. Do not raise a hand in violence. Do not escalate this. There's no turning back if we do.
I saw something today that I just want to put out while we're still talking, and we're going to keep talking about what's going on. But I think it's also important to remember that you are constantly being flooded with pretty negative stuff. This 2020 was a very up and down year for a lot of people, and for some people it wasn't great. And 2021 isn't off to a super great start. But I think it's important to remember to take care of yourself, but not shut things out. When people say take care of yourself, they forget that part of the statement. Ignorance is not bliss in this age, because then either you could be misinformed and hurt someone, or you could hurt yourself. And that will be counterintuitive to you taking care of yourself. But I think it's important to remember that you still need to do the taking care of yourself part, which will help your greater community and anyone that needs you who might possibly be having it, reacting to today way worse than you, if that makes sense. I was upset today. But I got a text from I'm in a sorority. I know. Shocking of shock.
Scandal.
By my gravelly voice, you can tell, in college. But one of my closest friends, works at Georgetown, College, which is in DC. And the visceral panic that went through me when I saw a casual Snapchat from her saying, I'm in DC, but I'm leaving right now. I cannot begin to tell you how fast my fingers closed that Snapchat, went to my contacts, and clicked her name. You know, like it was surreal to be like, oh, this is on my TV, but I know someone who's there. So while I was like, I'll ignore it and I'll watch like Hot Fuzz and Knit, I could have missed calling her to make sure that she got home okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's important, like, yeah, you take care of yourself. If you want to knit that scarf, you go knit that scarf. If you want to go play a video game, you go play that video game. But remember that you cannot shut the world out because you might regret it. Thankfully, she was nowhere near uh, the capital and she didn't have that commute that way. But if it was anybody else, like a friend of yours or someone you know that had to go that way and you weren't around or like you weren't aware of it and something had happened, I don't want you to feel that way. So take care of yourself, but don't be ignorant to what's going on. That's my soapbox. You got one, so I got one. It's only fair. Tit for tat.
Sure, sure. Well, I mean, it's like Matt said at the end of last week. To us, conversation is sacred.
Yeah. Just allow yourself to breathe. You know, I found myself while I was like scrolling through Twitter today, like looking for updates, looking at what was happening. I forgot to breathe, you know, because the anxiety just like cinched up in me when I'm not even there, you know. You
And
just have to remember to breathe.
woke up this morning stressed too. It's just been stress all day.
Now that's not a like clairvoyant mood, Robbie. You had like a clairvoyant moment. I'm gonna be stressed today. I don't know why, but I know I'm going to be.
Like I said, I've been saying this for months.
Hmm.
You know, I knew where we were headed, and I'm using what little platform I have to implore what audience we have to just take a breath.
Yeah.
Fucking don't let it end this way.
Yeah.
Don't let it end this way.
Yeah. Take your oxygen, kids. It's important.
So much crazy happened today too. There
Hmm.
was an election last night.
There was an election that night, and
And
if you were sleeping on it because you got bombarded by the Capitol building, the Senate got projected to flip today.
the Senate, as of today, has flipped, which is the first time in 6 years that the Senate has gone back to blue. With Raphael Warnock defeating Kelly Loeffler. Actually, last night he won. He won last night before the counting stopped, and then this morning, and Ossoff was leading last night. Ossoff was called midday today, but by that point the Capitol was being sieged, so it kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah, I had to specifically look it up to because I had been looking at it this morning to see oh, this is going to be my crazy thing for
Yeah, yeah.
politics today. That was going to be my watch what happens next today.
And as of this morning, the math was going in his favor. So
Hmm.
I wasn't overly worried about it. But this extra thing was just like
Yeah,
I
this was a
will
lot.
I will continue to take my prescient victory laps on this one,
Hmm.
because for those of you who have been with us since the very beginning, if you remember all the way back in the election special, way back when,
You
I
did love Warnock very much.
I did love Warnock very much, and I had predicted that the two Georgia races would flip to the Democrats. So
Very proud of you.
I
Like I said, the clairvoyancy comes with your age.
Well, when you're born in the 8th century BC,
Yeah.
you see a couple things.
You gotta
But
pick something up or it just gets boring.
yeah, of course.
And see, here, I thought the craziest thing today was gonna be that Kim and Kanye might be getting divorced.
Kim and Kanye might be getting divorced.
That's the craziest thing I thought was gonna happen today.
Remember when Kanye West ran for president like recently with the
That
birthday
was
party?
that's one of the big reasons why she wanted to get divorced. Because
This
of
is
the presidential shit.
this is
She's like, I can't do this.
this is pure gossip, but reportedly he's been in a sexual relationship with Jeffree Star on the down low, and that's part
I
of it.
don't I don't believe it for a second.
No, I see it.
You do?
I totally see
I
that.
just hate Jeffree Star.
I hate them both. I hate them both. And that might be why I believe it.
I mean, yeah. I've only seen I dislike Kanye because, he's had some choice opinions. But I just I don't really, not to be rude, I don't really care that much about celebrity gossip.
Oh, I don't follow it at all. It's just a
I was just
nice.
surprised when I went on Twitter expecting to see something about the Georgia election, and that was the big thing everyone was talking about.
It's
I was
just
like,
a.
oh,
It's a
okay.
nice distraction from the collapse of our democracy.
Oh, nice celebrity gossip.
Yeah, that's bread in circuses. That's the thing that always arises when democracies look like they're sort of heading in a bad direction.
Yeah.
Is that you get bread and circuses, and everyone sort of gets distracted from what's going on, and we all pretend that everything is fine. But the bread and circuses did not win out today. No, sir.
No, the rebel said, "Hold my beer."
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer.
I have a few more choice things to bring up as far as the insurrection goes, because
Sure.
unsurprisingly, a good chunk of the insurrectionists were members of QAnon.
Of course they were.
QAnon, for those of you who don't exactly know what that is, because it's so strange
Crazy.
and so hard
It's
to
crazy.
lose track. QAnon is a conspiracy theory that suggests that there is a deep state insider named Q who has been leaking secret information on Reddit and 4chan, revealing that Donald Trump has been in a secret war with Satan worshipping baby eaters who eat, babies and children. Most notably, as far as the babies and children thing goes, they believe that specifically the Democrats are the baby eaters. Now, let's be very clear. This is fucking insane. Um, it is. It is truly batshit bonkers. And these QAnon people, because they believe that still the president for at least a little while, Donald Trump, is fighting this war. They will fight till the very last to defend his honor or whatever, because they believe that Democrats are eating babies. And I want to highlight this before I start mocking not their leader, but there's a dude who we need to talk about. But I want to highlight the fact that if you had a genuine belief
Mm-hmm.
that there was a group of people in power who were pedophiles that were eating babies,
Yeah.
would you try to stop them? Wouldn't you try to stop them?
If there were pedophiles trying to eat
If
babies,
you genuinely believed, like really genuinely believed, that there was
yeah.
a cult of baby eating pedophiles running your country, wouldn't you try to
Yeah.
stop them?
Absolutely, I would. I don't know. Like, yeah. Why?
I mention this because that's what we need to understand about these people.
Yeah.
They're not evil.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little deranged, They're a lot deranged,
Yeah.
and they're being incited irresponsibly by another deranged man and those who have enabled him. But they're not evil.
Yeah.
They genuinely believe that the Democrats are eating babies. Now, I don't know how we stop them from believing that, but we need to figure out how to stop them from believing that. 'Cause it's insane.
Yeah.
But it is not an evil choice to try and stop people from eating babies. That's not evil, but your information is flawed. We need to correct the flaw. And this is important. This is really, really important. As we move forward over the next couple of years, because we have to try and come back together, the bulk of America, and I do think the bulk of America is sane, rational people. I think most of us are just checked out, and that's the problem. But
Yeah.
as we try to reclaim, our fellow citizens who have wandered down a dark path, we need to remember that they're not evil. A few of them are. A few. One of the people I'm going to bring up, I think he's a little far gone. But most of them are not. Most of them are just confused and scared and trying to stop people from eating babies.
Yeah.
Crazy as that is.
Do you want me to
This
give
is
you something to possibly hold on to?
Sure. I've just posted a picture of the Q shaman, but
Oh, for Lord.
as he lurks here, please tell me something positive so I can feel good.
Okay, first, hold on. I need to say something negative because the photo reminded me of something. There was a man, picture today, at the insurgents of this nonsense that had a Camp Auschwitz hoodie on.
Oh my god.
So that's the negative.
That's what I mean. Yeah, some of them are evil. A
And here's the
few.
positive. Kelly Loeffler, I think that's how you pronounce her last
Yeah.
name, right?
Yeah.
Rescinded her objection.
Really?
They're back in session right now. And she
That
says that she cannot in good conscience after what happened today.
that is a remarkable strength of character in the 11th hour.
Yeah. Everyone was like, well, she lost, so she has nothing left to lose. But I'm like, no, I think it's like, that's traumatizing. And like, this is what you're trying to continue. And she's just like, I can't.
Senator
can't do
Hawley
this.
out of Pennsylvania has still voiced his objection, so I hear. But
Yeah, but they're back in session right now.
hopefully this can speed along and the process can continue relatively quickly and uninterrupted, because it is important to remember that tonight's supposed to be a formality. Like, it's a formality to read out and count the votes. It's not, this doesn't like decide anything. The votes have been decided. This is just a thing we do for ceremonial purposes.
Yeah. But I thought that would be a nice little
that is surprising, and
moment, yeah.
it is heartening.
Yeah.
I appreciate that knowledge, and I'll probably sleep a little better tonight knowing that in the 11th hour some people are willing to. I mean, it looks like Mike Pence in the 11th hour decided that, he was the one who called in the National Guard. He was the one who has been organizing the police and forcing the rebels out of the Capitol.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, I wanted to give you that positivity before you continue.
that's good. I like it. It gives me hope for the future. And
Did
also,
he really?
Pence unfollowed Trump on Twitter. And
Did he?
it's chump change, except for the fact that Twitter has been our official means of presidential communication for 4 years. So actually, it is a significant gesture, which is insane. Again, that unfollowing someone on Twitter should be a significant gesture, but it is. So, the rumors have been abounding for the last couple of hours that the White House counsel is counsel CONCIL, not counsel COUNSEL. But there are rumors that they have been debating invoking the 25th for the last 10 days of Trump's term, which yeah. So this man I have on screen is named now, apart from the meme. That meme there is from Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, I was gonna say I recognized the
Yeah,
typeface.
it's a New Vegas meme.
Yeah.
It's just the image that I had on hand of this man that I think is very clear and shows him. He is the Q shaman. He interprets the words of Q. He's a very significant figure in the Q movement. He's a pseudo-religious figure. And I bring him up because anyone who dresses like that is an opportunist. I don't think this man believes for a second in the Q shit. I think this man is a grifter. But that doesn't matter at all, because what he is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because when someone is scared, and when someone is, more than a little deranged and off their rocker, when someone believes that a cabal of devil-worshipping Democrats is eating babies, anyone who comes along and accepts their delusion and enhances their delusion, they're going to latch onto that person. And that person will have total advantage over them and can do with them whatever they please.
Wasn't he the one that took a picture on the dais?
He is the one he was on the dais. And that is significant.
Yeah.
Because this phenomenon that we call Trumpism, it is going to outlive Trump. We are already seeing, not just public, figures in the Republican Party and beyond, not just far right populists who are, taking advantage and trying to position themselves as Trumpite successors. There are active people who are prophets, preachers, and successors to Trump, actively in business right now.
Yeah.
This movement does not go away. This cult does not go away, because the grifters have already come in, and they are already declaring themselves such things as the prophet of Q.
Yeah.
The time is past. We waited too long to really put our backs into it, dig our heels in, and try to save these people. Like they are in danger. We are now not just competing with an insane ideology, we are competing with people who are preaching it as a religion.
Yeah.
It is much harder to combat a religion. Religions are they're more than just one idea or one person. They are a broad body of ideas and beliefs and practices and customs. They are culture. It is so difficult to fight culture, and this is a poisonous, dangerous culture. And frankly, I'm actually glad that the best image I had of him was a meme, because we need to be aware that when we meme him, we are giving him some sense of power. We are not taking him seriously. We did not take Trump seriously. He was president of a country. He was president of a country, of the United States, for 4 years. We didn't take him seriously at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I still laugh at his antics sometimes.
Yeah.
Because he can be kind of funny. He's in the way he is. But this is a step too far.
Yeah.
You know, it is important to be able to laugh at our pain, to laugh at our enemies, to laugh at the things which mean to hurt us because it robs them of power. But while we're doing that, we must remember to take them seriously. You know, I am a big proponent of the idea that everything is okay to joke about. You know, you need to be able to joke about things.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a difference between disregarding and making fun.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that things like this, you know, that comparing him to a Fallout New Vegas crazy, is done with the understanding that the people we're comparing him to in that game are fucking lunatic cult leaders and, you know, are bad guys that we should defeat.
Yeah.
Because you can't dismiss this.
No.
I'd like to dismiss this. This is ludicrous. This man is shirtless, wearing, a fur skin hat with horns, and
Then
carrying.
we go back to what we talked about earlier: is if we ignore this kind of thing, it's irresponsible to
Right.
ourselves and to our greater community.
Right. We can't ignore him.
Yeah.
You know, we need to take him seriously, but we also need to be careful what power we give him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think outrage is always the answer. I really don't think outrage is usually the answer. It's not very productive.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to look at someone like this, to laugh at the way that they look, and then go behind them and try very, very hard to point out to the people who he's grifted that he's nuts.
Yeah.
You know, it's
important to know. Sorry if I interrupted.
No, go ahead.
It's important to know the difference between knowing how to meticulously voice your dissent or opinion versus being apathetic because you don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, someone could look at this and be apathetic, be like, well, he's dumb, so I don't really care. Doesn't affect me. But then you're not helping the people that it does affect.
Yeah.
And it does affect you. You don't live in a bubble. You don't live, like, it's not just your insulated world. Like, you live in the country. This affects you. You know? Like, you may not want to deal with it, but it still affects you. And, you know, like, it's affecting luckily they went back into session, but obviously speaking of Wafflier, it shows that it has an effect.
Yeah.
And it could have gone a totally different way if they had, you know, found the people they wanted to find. It affects you. So I think I just wanted to interject that there's a difference between maybe not immediately going outright and saying something, but still being active in your dissent towards something versus being apathetic because it's not a first-hand effect on you. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm sorry for interrupting.
No. Conversation is good. You know, it's all it all affects you.
Mm-hmm.
And we all live in the same country together. You know, whether you want it to or not, it affects you.
Yeah.
There is no, the last episode on the show we did was a pretty broad topic, but it began with the question, is the universe continuous or discrete? And what that means is that, what the question is the universe a collection of isolated constants, or is it one great thing that is all joined together? And I don't know that we necessarily reached a consensus on the universe, but at least as far as this country is concerned, we are not islands unto ourselves. This country is continuous. It is not discrete. We are connected, whether we want to be or not. And we need to accept that. We need to take responsibility for that. We need to not just condemn, but arrest, try, and imprison those people who just assaulted our Congress and the foundations of our republic.
Yeah.
And then we need to turn around to everybody else and say, okay, I guess we really aren't communicating that well, huh? Why don't we sit down and talk to each other so that we don't feel like we need to do this again? I don't like the idea that there's that much of the country that that feels that there's any part of the country at all that feels that it needs to storm and seize Congress. The same way that I don't like that there are large portions of this country. I'm speaking specifically to black and brown Americans that are overlooked and downtrodden, and also feel like they have no other recourse. I don't like that. That's not good. That means we failed. We have absolutely failed. And I again, as a member of the liberal left, it is easier for me to look at those with whom I ideologically agree and feel sympathy for them. It is much easier for me to feel sympathy for BLM protests because I'm with them. We sit on the same side of the fence. But if I want to live in this country and make this country work, I have to feel some sympathy for the other side, as much as I'm horrified by them. Because there are people like Mitt Romney, and there are people like Mitt Romney.
Yeah.
I name everybody else who tonight finally decided that there was a line, but I don't really want to give credit to Pence and McConnell and company. Good for Loeffler for in the 11th hour finally turning the other cheek, but really, this is what it took.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful for people like Mitt Romney, and I want more Mitt Romneys. I want more people like that who I might go, I fundamentally disagree with everything that you want out of this nation, but I agree with you on the same basic principles of ethics and morals that we should be run by, and that we should treat each other with civility and respect, that we must have conversation before violence, that if it reaches the point of violence, then we failed utterly, and we need to double down on conversation. I dig deep into the nature of this channel as a center of nerd and geek culture. And I call up Doctor Who season 9, the Zygon inversion. I believe episode 6 or 7, where the two factions on Earth are about to blow each other up. They're gonna blow each other up.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go to war. And the Doctor says, What's the point of that? Because after all the bombs have dropped and everyone's suffered and died, you're still going to have to do what you needed to do in the first place and sit down and talk to each other.
Yeah. Oh, I have something to tell you that you're gonna laugh at.
Go on.
Boris Johnson commented on today. Yeah.
The idiot across the pond.
Do you want to hear the tweet?
I'm so curious. What does he have to say?
Disgraceful scenes in U.S. Congress. The United States stands for democracy around the world, and it is now vital that there should be a peaceful and orderly transfer of power.
That stupid piece of shit.
Yeah. A couple of world leaders have sent out their feelings.
I saw that Trudeau posted pretty recently.
Trudeau did, and Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Jacinda Ardern.
Yeah, she posted about it too. Yeah. I love being on a world stage.
It's super fun.
It's super fun.
You know, I was remarking the other night to, I forget who I was talking to, but I said that it must be horrible living in Georgia right now with all those eyes on you.
Oh, I can't imagine.
You know, it is so unhealthy for our democracy that so much is decided by so little.
It's,
we need to have a serious conversation about the way this country is run.
yeah.
Because something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's really, really rotten in the state of Denmark.
I really thought of Doctor Who today too, actually.
Huh.
I don't remember. It was the first episode with Tennant, I think.
Mm.
Do you know what scene I'm going to be talking about?
Is that from the Christmas
Where
Invasion?
I should have told them to run.
Oh, yeah, I should have told them to run because the human race is coming. Yeah.
I was like, I don't know why that popped in my head today after I read that. I was like, why? I can't. Like, it'd be like if someone's like, oh, I just can't even. I don't even know how to, like, put into words, like, why I thought of that.
Yeah. It's
like I just told them to run. You know?
The terror of American exceptionalism.
Yeah. It's wild. I don't even know. That's the problem. I don't even know anymore. Like, even as we're talking, like, I've been trying to keep updates so that I can keep you in the know of what's going on. Like, for example...
I wouldn't worry about that. Everybody's always letting me know what's going on.
As of right now, it is... Sources have told Caitlin Collins, who, if you don't know her, she is the White House correspondent for CNN. She's lovely. Says that National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien and Deputy National Security Advisor Matt Potner and Deputy Chief of Staff Chris Liddell are all considering resigning.
Yep, I think I just saw that on CNN.
As of 11 minutes ago.
I saw the notification that three top aides were resigning because the top White House national security officials are resigning. East Wing staffers are resigning. I mean, it's resignations all across the board right now. It's
and the White House has called a lid as of 2 hours ago.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal indeed.
Calling a lid on the White House?
I think they're going to invoke the 25th tonight. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, I've been seeing what you were talking about. People saying that it's being rumored. Oh, George. George also released a statement. Good old George W.
And what did former worst president ever George W. Bush have to say?
Do you want me to read the whole thing or just the...
Read the whole thing. Let me hear what he had to say.
Everyone listen to lovely, gravelly voice read what would be coming out of a very southern man. Him. Laura and I are watching the scenes of mayhem unfolding at the seat of our nation's government in disbelief and dismay. It is a sickening and heartbreaking sight. This is how election results are disputed in a banana republic, not our democratic republic. I am appalled by the reckless behavior of some political leaders since the election and by the lack of respect shown today for our institutions, our traditions, and our law enforcement. The violent assault on the Capitol and disruption of constitutionally mandated meeting of Congress was undertaken by people whose passions have been inflamed by falsehoods and false hopes. Insurrection could do grave damage to our nation and reputation. In the United States of America, it is the fundamental responsibility of every patriotic citizen to support the rule of law. To those who are disappointed in the results of the election, our country is more important than the politics of the moment. Let the officials elected by the people fulfill their duties and represent our voices in peace and safety. May God continue to bless the United States of America. End of statement.
It's really weird to be wistful for that guy.
Yeah, just let him paint his paintings. just let him paint his paintings. That's all I gotta say. At least he's not Giuliani. Oh my God.
Ah, yes. Rudy Giuliani. Good old Rudy.
Let's have trial by combat.
Ugh, this fucking lunatic.
Could you imagine? Oh my God.
You know, I think Trump would win that. I'm not gonna lie.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think he's on enough drugs and steroids that weird carcass of a man could flail forward. And
but
just...
then I add this to it. What if it was a tag team event?
Oh, I mean, if it was tag team, I'd give it to the Democrats.
Kamala would eat them up.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Is that Kamala's like in good shape. Pence looks okay, but he's just a bit older. I'd give it to Kamala for just the youth.
Yeah.
You know.
And she wears sensible shoes. She's got those Tims or those Converse
she
on.
She does wear sensible shoes.
If she's wearing the Tims, that'll hurt. Timberlands are not a shoe to fight with.
And you know, I think it's important to unrelated to our just enormous. Yeah, Pence is the guy who had the fly on his head. For people who don't know Mike Pence, Mike Pence, by the way, is only like 55.
Mm-hmm.
Like he looks ancient, but he is not as old as he should be.
Former senator or governor of Indiana?
He was the governor of Indiana, and I think he was a state rep before that.
Yeah. Listen, politics ages people. Have you seen Obama?
Obama does look like shit.
He's gotten a lot better, though, since he's been out of office.
And it's weird what stress will do to you.
Yeah.
But
the weight of the world and the nation can really stress a guy out.
You've said tonight you have a gravelly voice. You said that like 3 times. You do not have a gravelly voice. You have a very
I've been
smooth
told
voice.
that.
Who told you that?
I think it was because you've met my mom and my sister. They have higher voices than me. So they're like, it's kind of gravelly and like kind of low.
I don't know. I think Sam's is pretty deep.
Sam's is deep, but mine's like has like a more, I don't want to say richer tone than hers.
I was gonna say smooth.
Yeah, but my mom has a higher voice than me.
Yes, that is true.
Now, lady, I don't need you flirting with me in the comment section. I see you. I'm just joking, obviously.
In this dark day, I reject your assertion that your voice is gravelly. It is not gravelly. Mine can get a little gravelly sometimes. Yours is.
That's only when you're tired, though.
Sure.
When you're tired, you get real gravelly.
Yeah, like when I'm tired, I can get real down in the dumps.
Have you? I haven't noticed. In how many years have we known each other?
7, 8.
7 or 8, yeah.
8, I think 8.
How does it feel that one of your, I assume I'm one of your closest female presenting friends. I'm assuming. How does it feel that I'm turning a quarter of a century
Well, you're like the third one to do that, so it's sort of like,
Well, that's good. But I'm still on the podium.
you're on the podium, but it's not, I've gotten
Good.
used
As
to it.
long as I'm not, as long as I'm not on the top. Like how you, this is a random fun tangent, and then we can go back to talking. We can go back to monologuing, as Frozone lovingly calls out in The Incredibles. Have you ever seen pictures of like silver medalists versus bronze medalists?
There's usually a significant difference in the,
It's wild.
yeah.
Like you see like a silver medalist looks like super depressed. Like on like stern face, and then bronze is just happy to be there.
It's
It was
true.
an honor to be nominated to be. Oh, Susan. Oh, what did she do now? Or you just want to show me a
Nothing.
meme?
It's just a good meme I've had, and
It's
I
just a
wanted
good
to
meme.
I wanted
I
to
love
put
a
us
good.
at least in a bit of a good mood as we're starting to wrap up, just because
We deserve it.
we deserve it, and this fucking bitch is still our senator. Like,
Listen,
this useless motherfucker.
I can't even.
It is so infuriating to me that we are the state from which Margaret Chase Smith and Olympia Snowe come from, and this is who we fucking have right now. Margaret Chase Smith, the first woman to the Senate and the House. And who do we have right now? This lady. Hell, I mean, I'm not like I have nothing against Shelley Pingree. She's fine. She's just sort of like she doesn't make many waves, but at least she's like I'm good with having you represent us. Like I respect her. But this bitch
Yeah.
with her fucking her pursed lips and
I
vague
should not have
sense
had her
of
as a senator for as long as I've been alive.
just
I just,
about, yeah.
it's wild to me.
Yeah.
Like, can we not?
Yeah, it'd be really great if we could not have her anymore. I'm real tired.
It'd be great if we had a cap.
This is the one I will say. This is the one prediction I'm really pissed about that I got messed up. And granted, Sarah Gideon was a fucking awful candidate, but come on, man, really?
It's a necessary evil sometimes. Sometimes you gotta go with the necessary evil.
And
to avoid
frankly,
the bigger evil.
this is the worst thing about all these claims of election fraud.
Yeah.
If we were so focused on trying to have a widespread fraudulent election, why the fuck did we lose so hard? I mean, Jesus.
Period. That's what my favorite thing to say when I'm watching the news. Like, the voter fraud. I'm like, then how'd you win your seat, baby girl?
Like, why did we lose so hard?
Yeah. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
If we were rigging an election, why wouldn't we rig it down ballot? Why would we just rig it for a handful of votes in a handful of states for one guy? But again, it's delusion. It's absolute delusion because the Democrats eat babies. And it's all about getting Trump out of the way so that they can keep eating babies. Because they
A cult
eat
of
babies.
personality. We do love a cult of personality.
Just...
I mean...
As of 5 minutes ago, a growing number of Republicans, according to CNN, so take it with a grain of salt or whatever, because it's CNN, but a growing number of Republicans say that they believe Trump should be removed from office.
Well, when the house is on fire and it's about to go to cinders, might be time to call the fire department.
the most important part. I mean, the 25th has been invoked before, and the 25th is for a brief crash course. Here's what we'll wrap up. We'll wrap up with fun, informative civics, because a lot of people don't know civics, and I'm 99% sure that's why everybody comes to me with like politics news, because I understand it. I know a few of my friends very specifically come to me with this shit because they want explanations, and I'm very happy to give them because civics is important, and I want everybody to understand how our democracy works. So, we have this thing called the 25th Amendment. Or the 25th Amendment states that if the president is enfeeble, infirm, or Otherwise incapacitated, the cabinet and the vice president can vote to temporarily suspend the powers of the president and present them into the hands of the vice president. Now, what this means is that the vice president, unlike under impeachment and conviction, is not actually the president. They are what is known as the acting president. This is a fairly routine procedure for things like colonoscopies and surgeries, and more often than not, it's not even reported when it happens, for a very good reason, and that's because you need continuity of government to keep a stable society. And so, if a president needs to get a colonoscopy and has to be under for a couple hours, you don't want people to know that the president's gone. But for national security reasons, you need somebody at the top who can make decisions if something does go catastrophically wrong during those couple hours. So that's why the 25th exists. Now, the 25th has only ever been invoked with the consent of the president himself because, again, it's usually a medical procedure. It's usually the president needs some work done and needs to, go under for a bit. Bill Clinton's colonoscopy is the famous one, which is why I keep mentioning that. Or maybe it was I'm pretty sure it was Clinton's. So there is the option of simply invoking the 25th, and then you prevent Trump from doing anything for the next 2 weeks. That's fairly simple. I wouldn't be surprised if that was invoked at the very least. But an increasing number of senators, at least according to this latest report, are suggesting that he should actually just be impeached. Now, there are pros and cons to both of these approaches. The pros to the 25th is that you only need a majority of the cabinet, and at this point, it kind of looks like a majority of the cabinet is willing to do that. It's there. That looks like it'll be. I think the 25th will be invoked either tonight or tomorrow. I think that's gonna happen. Then there's the issue of, even if he's redundant, he'll still be awake and around and shouting things. And also, that does not disqualify him from office. An impeachment trial and conviction, which, as we know from this most recent one, requires a majority of the Senate, a supermajority, I should say, 2/3 of the Senate to vote to convict, to actually remove him, is a much higher bar of removal. It's just harder to do. But the advantage with impeachment is that he can be removed from office and then barred from ever holding high office ever again.
Yeah.
Which, kind of seems like a good idea.
Kind of a good idea.
Seems like we might want to do that. I
have a perfect plug-in.
Yeah.
For that. This is why it's a good idea, kids. The person with the nuclear codes has been deemed too dangerous to have a Twitter account.
Yeah, his Twitter got shut off today.
For 12 hours, but still.
We really probably should not let him continue being the president. I don't know.
Probably not.
It would be a little goofy to have Mike Pence come in as the 45th, or no, he'd be the 46th. He'd be the 46th president for 20 days. Now, to be clear, it is also possible that an act of Congress could just jump up the inauguration to tomorrow. That's, the inauguration date is not a constitutional thing. It's a statute. It's not that hard to change. And frankly, I think after this lame duck session, we should really think about reducing its length. Maybe we certify the electoral votes the day after they're cast. So, December 5th. Maybe that'd be a good idea. I don't know. That just feels like it'd be nice.
It's a thought.
Just a thought. Maybe also elections could be a holiday while we're dreaming of things that we'd want.
It's nice to want things.
But at the very least, maybe we really should reduce this lame duck session, because
Yeah.
it turns out even with only 2 months, a president can really screw up. Oh boy. I guess it's about it's about 3, but
Yeah, what do you mean? We didn't have to talk about anything today. We just enjoyed each other's company.
we just enjoyed each other's company for an hour and a half. We had had a lovely time just hanging out.
Absolutely talked about nothing going on in politics.
Nothing traumatic has happened today.
Absolutely not. Are you feeling okay? Did you have a fever dream and you didn't tell me?
Well, I did have a fever dream earlier, but that's unrelated.
Oh boy. You have to tell me about that later.
So we'll see what comes of all of this in the next 24 to 48 hours, because these things will be updated, and rest assured, tomorrow on the main show, it'll probably come up again. But thanks for coming on and
Anytime.
sitting with me and letting me sort through all of this.
I always love listening to a monologue. My favorite time.
Thank all of you for sitting with me and engaging with us and processing and listening, and just genuinely thank you for listening. That's the first step to a healthy conversation, is to listen. And if I can leave you with anything, if I can leave you with the theme of what this show, what Plain Talk has been, conversation is sacred, and we should treat it as such. And that's my speech for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember that Plain Talk airs every Wednesday at 8 p.m. The regular White Pages podcast, of which our channel is named, airs every Thursday and Sunday at 8 p.m. Also, I stream Doom every Tuesday and Thursday at noon. I'm actually about halfway through that Doom playthrough, so we'll be switching up, in the next couple of weeks to something else. But video games are streamed Tuesdays and Thursdays. Right now it's Doom. And starting this Saturday the what's this, the 9th?
9th. Mm-hmm.
Saturday the 9th, we will be streaming our first ever episode of By Dark, a Vampire the Masquerade RPG series that will not necessarily stay Vampire the Masquerade, but at least our first story is going to be in Vampire the Masquerade. But it's an RPG series, featuring voices that you've heard that have been on the show, and pretty much the only one you haven't yet is Titus, but we're going to have him on tomorrow. So you'll have met everybody, and I think it'll be a good time. It'll be lots of fun, less serious, more, serious of a different kind. Serious fantasy. I do tend to run some pretty dark games, but it'll be different.
But rest assured, knowing the group, they get a little chaotic. So
they do get a little chaotic. Well. It's going to be real fun trying to rein them in on stream.
Oh yeah, I'm not jealous of you for that.
Oh yeah, no, it's going to be peachy. I'm going to have a great time.
It's going to be a great time.
I genuinely do think it'll be a great time, and I hope you guys enjoy this program. If you do enjoy this program, leave a like on YouTube, leave a comment, subscribe to us, follow us on Twitch. Remember that everything streams live on Twitch before it airs on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at pages_podcast. That's where you get all of your updates. And keep coming back, keep having fun, keep loving movies. Remember to be kind to each other, and I will see all of you in the next one. Have a good night.